Go ahead at one time. And then he went second yard of the shoe.
Just as a reminder, everybody can turn off their cell phones or silence them, and they'll have to report.
Have you heard your name called for the picture? Carrie Sarping? Here. Robert Bennett?
Here.
Christopher Cole?
Here.
Joanne Everett? Here. James Durham?
Here.
Jackie Aycock? Here. Angela Constable? Here. David Riddle?
Here.
Arthur Leon?
Here.
And then alternate. Denise Allen? Here. And Barbara Cooper?
Thank you for being here. On Friday evening. I know you didn't have anything else better to do than come join us. But I do appreciate you and the committee taking time and being willing to serve in this salary grievance committee. Thank you all for being here. I want you to hear everything that's being said. In case one of them gets an emergency phone call, has to leave, you'll step right in that position. Want to kind of go over where we're at, what we're doing. It is part of the budget process, county budget. Each year, the Commissioners Court starts our budget process about the 1st of June. We go through that. We get down to where we set the officials' salaries. And then if there's any official that doesn't agree with it, the local government code 152.016, if any elected official is agreed with the salary set, they can request a grievance hearing. And that's what we've got, 3 individuals that requested a grievance. I went up and looked and said, what was grieved? The grieved is feeling resentment for not having, for being unfairly treated. they have a right to agree their salary and come in. We've spent many hours, commissioners, there are some commissioners here, we've spent many hours. Like I say, since first of June, going through this, many hours listening to the elected officials, looking at our numbers, our tax numbers, our auditor's not here, but we spent a lot of time looking at the tax numbers. But we had Karen Wilson, our district clerk.
There y'all.
Heath Barton, he's a constable precinct 2, and Pat Jordan, constable precinct 4, have agreed their salaries. So that's why we're here. We're gonna have 3 years. Don't do one, then another. And so kind of explain what we did with the court this year. We will, if you want to pass this out, give each one on one of those. That what she's passing out is a sheet of what was approved by the Commissioner Court of elected officials' salaries. Each year we go through this, and what we did this year was we usually give a percentage raise. And when you give a percentage raise, the ones that's making the most money get a bigger raise than the ones at the bottom making the least amount of money. And we had heard from a lot of the elected officials and a lot of them that they didn't feel like it was fair. The gap was getting too wide from the bottom to the top. The gap was growing each year you give a percentage raise. So this year, what we did, we figured a 7% salary increase for elected officials and county employees. And then we averaged it out. We didn't want to give the percentage raise this year. So what we did, we figured a 7% increase for the elected officials and the employees. Then we divided it out. Now, the employees don't have an opportunity to agree. They're employees, but the elected officials do. So what you're looking at right there, I think there's 19 elected officials there. What we did, that's a 7% increase from what they were making last year. When we figured it out, we figured, okay, if we give every one of these a 7% increase, and we come up with a dollar figure. And then we divided it between the 19. It come up to $2,750. We said, okay, let's just go ahead and round it up to 3,000. So we rounded it up to 3,000. So you'll see on your sheet that you've got there, that's what the commissioners approved for every elected official in Zandt County. Every one of them received a $3,000 increase, except the bottom when you'll see the sheriff at 5,000. We're having trouble getting deputies. No one wants to go into law enforcement anymore. I can't say I don't blame them. But it's very, very, is Sheriff here? Yes. Sheriff Joe Carter's here. He will tell you he has trouble finding deputies or anybody that wants to work. So what we did on his, on the sheriff's, sheriff come to us and he said, would you be willing to give forward so I can go out and try to hire and get some incentive to bring some in. We agreed to give forward. Sheriff went out there and said, look, I can't get people to come in to work for this salary. I can't fill these positions anyhow. Would I be willing? I would be willing to cut 2 positions that I can't fill anyhow. If you'll take that salary and divide it among with the rest of the jail and the sheriff, the deputies. So you'll hear a lot about these throughout this year. I don't know. So we did agree. He cut 2 positions, that bumped it to 5. That's why you see the sheriff's at 5. You don't want your deputies making more than your sheriffs. So that's what, is that pretty well explained that, Joe?
We can't those numbers talk to you about whether it's 3, 4, 5,000, $6,000 a year. we just pulled some other error, we just market with all, the surrounding agencies pay around here, police department, sheriff's offices. Even with the pay rate, we're still a bit low, we what the market value, average value is, salary range for a lot of money. That's all.
And you're still looking for deputies and stuff. And if anybody in here would like to apply, he's heard the way. Thank you, Joe. So that's why the 5,000, every elected official in Benson County got 3, with the exception of Joe, and he got 5, because we're trying to boost and get it better. You want to pass this out? What that is a comparison of the counties that's the same budget. We look at the same budget that we have, pretty much 16. That's just a brief overview of many hours that has been spent and looked at through this process. How this grievance will work. This hearing today, the elected official, the 3 elected officials will have 10 minutes to step up here, present to you guys their case. So they'll spend 10 minutes. We're gonna have to time it. Spend 10 minutes presenting their case. We've got 2 or 3 commissioners. I don't know if they're gonna want to speak, but if they do, they'll have 10 minutes and then we'll open it up to the public. It is a public hearing. Open it up to the public, and each one of you will be given 5 minutes to speak. I want you guys to get through to have a clear picture, understand exactly what the way it works, what happened. I will need. Okay.
I mean, and then I understand the significant law enforcement. The 5,000 is for the sheriff.
The five on that sheet. On this sheet. We also give 5,000 for the deputies.
Oh, okay.
And the jail staff. Jail staff and deputies, not administration. But because he is an elected official, yeah, all the jail staff and the deputies receives 5,000. Correct, sure. Okay.
And he could duplicate in order to provide for the 5,000.
Correct. And he told us, he said, get ready, I'm coming back for them 2 positions. And we had forgotten, so, yeah. I will need the committee to choose a foreman. And the only reason we're gonna need a foreman is at the end, it's just a simple, hey, we served on the where it says 2022-2023 salary grievance committee conducted a grievance hearing on August 26, 2022 for Van Zandt County. And the position of this one, the first one here is Karen Wilson, district clerk. At the conclusion of the hearing, the committee members voted and the result was blank for and blank against the salary increase for the Van Zandt County district clerk. And I need a foreman to sign it. Because if 6 to 8 votes to give them the salary, then it goes back to the commissioner's court. If 9 votes to give them the salary increase, then it's automatic. They just get it on to the commissioners. So I will need a foreman. Y'all can pick between yourselves. Anybody want to volunteer? All I'm gonna need is a signature.
I will.
Okay, yeah, okay. I'll give this to you at the end after the vote. Louis Everett will be the foreman, if that's okay. Any objection of her being the foreman? Okay, then she'll be the foreman. After you've heard from everyone, then you will go, you'll vote right here, you'll be given a ballot, simple yes, no. and vote your conscience. And then we'll go, then we work on. It's pretty simple. I hope that, I want to have us out of here by 5. I'm trying. But we're that's the reason we got alternates. But,
Maybe we should be.
so, and the form. That's pretty much it. Let me remind you, we've got very little tolerance. Every one of us in here are adults. We don't all agree. But we can certainly respect each other and act like adults in this meeting. We have a bailiff right here. We've already had discussion today. Let me tell you, we're not gonna sit here and we don't need a cheering section. If someone says something you like, okay, that's fine, but we don't need to try to sway from the cheering section. Everyone has an opportunity to be heard. Everybody should be heard. It's the law. But I will ask you to, when they're speaking, for everyone to just listen. You have an opportunity to speak if you want to. And I think that's about it. I think we've covered that. We've covered everything, Sharon.
Well, I've got one question.
Okay.
We have 11 committee members and only 9 can vote. Is that true? These two down here.
We have 9
on the back.
committee
The
members.
two, okay. I just
These
did-
are all.
Okay,
Yeah, in case one of those had to step out,
okay. I just,
one of those would step in.
Okay.
Yeah, there's only 9 voting members. 9 voting.
okay. I just didn't know which ones were alternates.
Okay, 2 alternates, raise your hand.
I do now.
Okay,
I do.
okay, you have 10 minutes.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank every one of y'all for showing up. This is a very difficult situation that I'm in. It's kind of hard. I really can't express how much y'all taking your time out to come here. I mean, it means the world to me that y'all would take your time to do this for me. I've been here for 20 years, and every time I ask the commissioners, well, you knew what it paid when you got here. And I agree. I agree 100%. I have been here for 20 years. So yeah, I knew what it paid when I got here. But with the challenges of the county, I have had multiple years of not taking a raise. I mean, we didn't get raises. I have given furlough days up many a times because I wouldn't allow my employees to take a furlough day without me. I've been here through the hard times of Zandt County. As you know, there's a sign out here, we're debt free. So, and I think there's like $8 million in the surplus. So this is the time for me to ask. And it's hard because I don't have a boss. I'm elected official. Y'all are my boss. I can only go to commissioner's court and ask for a certain amount. And whenever I found out that the commissioners had gotten a $14,000 car allowance, it's not fair. I mean, I've been told over and over and over that we all had to make the same amount. So I thought, well, okay, I'll wait my turn. And that just kind of got me because that's an income. That is, I don't care how you look at it, it comes in their paycheck. That is an income. So they proposed for me to have $3,000. I'm asking for $10,000. I'll be honest. That first sheet that I gave y'all, if you look at that by population, and if you even one glance up there at 25,000 to 49,000, you can see all those people make more than they did. All those parties make more than me. But if you go down here to the 50,000, I'm the least paid district clerk in a population of our size. What I did was I averaged that. The average clerk for this population makes 62,000. So I don't think what I'm asking for is unfair. That's still $7,000 that the commissioners have gotten more than me. And if they can take that from each citizen, more power to them. But I think it's a fair amount that I'm asking for. Judge, how do I know what time I'm on?
Yes, sir.
I got 7 minutes. Okay. I've had many challenges through my office. And back in 2015, we went to a statewide filing system. That means that all the all the attorneys come in through this filing system on e-file and file all their cases with us. Oh, thank you. It was horrifying to say the least. We got new software. I feel bad up here asking for a raise when I know that what my employees make, I really do. I debated whether I wanted to do this or not. Because I have two employees that have stuck it out with me. And this is Stormy and Peggy. They've dedicated 6 and 8 years with me. But most of my employees leave because they pay more. My girls are the least paid clerks, and the county clerks and the tax assessor. They are the least paid clerks there are. So I do just as much as they do. I promise you I do. We talk about a car allowance, y'all. I'd love the gas money too. I can't tell you how many times I've been up here for the city, they didn't have a protective order, a certified copy of protective order. They're trying to arrest somebody. I came up here 11 o'clock at night. The other night was 9 o'clock. That wasn't bad. But anytime that there's an emergency removal of a child, I can't just walk out the door at 8 o'clock. And yeah, my employees do help me. They want to stay, but then we got overtime. So I stay a lot, and I try to cover my job. I've been a loyal employee of Van Zandt County. I get emotional, but I can't, I'm dedicated to this job. I want to serve y'all. I could go to any county here and make more than I make right now. And that's 53,000. All the chief deputies around all the surrounding counties, they start out at 58. So what I'm asking for, how much? Okay. What I'm asking for is not unreasonable at all. I hope that you feel it in your heart, because if I don't get all 9 votes, it's over. The commissioners are not going to give me that money back. So I just want to express that it's hard to stand up here and say how I think I deserve this raise, but I've paid my time. We have elected officials in the past that had no experience. And I hope when y'all go out to vote, I hope that's a consideration of y'all's, that you take into consideration how much experience these people have when they run, because it has cost the county. It has cost the county. My girls, they can go to McDonald's, and I was told by one commissioner, let them go. But they have no idea what my office does. We do civil, we do tax suits, we do criminal cases, felonies. We do all of the AG court. I've got the AG court, got the CPS court, and I have county court at law, and I have district court. So we're averaging about 3,800 cases among 5 of us. And so it takes me to work too. So I think it's time for me to have a raise. And this is hard. This is very hard to ask, just because I don't have a boss. Nobody finds out, nobody looks at what I do during the day. I've been here 20 years, and this is the God honest truth. I can name 5 times a commissioner or has been on my floor to see me. Our new commissioner, where is he? Mr. LaPrade, thank you. You have checked on us more than any commissioner in 20 years has, and I want to thank you. He comes by, checks on us, says hi. But nobody knows what kind of job I do. They know if I'm at work because my car's parked there. I park in the same spot, so everybody knows I'm at work. I'm here till 6 or 7 o'clock at night. Most of the times. Whenever my longest employees, they still have questions. This job, to be a clerk, a deputy clerk, it takes about 2 years. 2 years, and everything is crucial. We could get somebody arrested. My husband's a police officer. That, I support the sheriff's office, but it's our fault too. We have to look out for them. We have to make sure warrants have come back when bonds come back. We have to report. We have 56 reporting requirements just to the state of Texas. So, this job is very detailed and complex. I have begged every employee that whenever I get ready to retire one day, they would step up, and nobody has said yes, because they see the job that I do. And I really wish that y'all would take that into consideration, and thank y'all.
Thank you, Sharon. Is, I see, is there any commissioner here that wants to speak? You have 10 minutes.
Hey, I'm Keith Pearson. I'm elected official here to represent y'all in the Commissioners Court. And I'll have to agree with Ms. Wilson. A lot of people came to the Commissioners Court during budget time this year and said, we're out of debt. I want to spend. That's not the way you stay out of debt. You can't start just because you're out of debt to start spending money frivolously. I apologize for every employee that works in Van Zandt County and every elected official, because she's correct. You can go to any surrounding county and make more money than you can in Van Zandt County. But the simple fact of the matter is, we're not in that county. We're in Van Zandt County. We have to spend what our budget allows us to spend and not more than that. So the part that addresses the expenses, about 3 years ago, the Commissioners Court, and this is on the recommendation of the schooling that we went to from the Texas Association of County, we shifted the expense of the commissioner's vehicle. Each commissioner had a truck to drive, because we drive out that truck. That vehicle is used about 20,000 miles a year. The county vehicle was just for county work. Texas Association of Counties said you really shouldn't do that. You really should shift that expense, and the commissioner provide his own vehicle, and then you do a vehicle allowance. It is not revenue. Yes, the federal government says it's revenue unless I show that it's expensive. It goes down as income of me. Van Zandt County does not show its revenue because it does not increase my retirement. If I should ever come to where I have a retirement from Van Zandt County, the amount of money from that vehicle will not increase my retirement by 1 penny. It does not go towards it. So that I want to justify that. But some, and Ms. Wilson has come to us and said, I want a vehicle allowance. Her particular position does not allow for a vehicle allowance. Now, we do, anytime any elected official or employee uses their vehicle for county work, we pay mileage for that. We reimburse them for the mileage that they used on their vehicle. The commissioners are not the only one in the county that get a vehicle allowance. There's other elected officials within the county that qualify for a vehicle allowance. I just want to explain that. This thing, this grievance process is put in place for an elected official that he or she feels like she has been mistreated. That's what this is for, is to give, because it is possible that if you had an elected official that wasn't doing their job, or if you had an elected official that wasn't affiliated with the same party as the Commissioners Court, there is the possibility there for you to mistreat that person. So this process was put in place for those people to grieve because they feel like they were mistreated. For some reason in Van Zandt County, it's got shifted from being mistreated to an opportunity to stand up and ask for a raise. I'll tell you, how can you be more fair when you take the dollar amount that we had this year to give for a raise, which is 7%? I know inflation went up more than that. You know, we would like to have done more, but we can't spend more money than what's in our pockets. So how can you be more fair when you take the amount of money that you're going to give a raise and divide it equally between the employees and the elected officials? Each one of them gets the same thing. Now that's with the exceptions of the sheriff's office, and we told you how we did that. We didn't, the extra $2,000, we didn't have to find new money for. The $3,000 that we gave each elected official and employee, we had to come up with that money. The other $2,000 was already budgeted in the previous year's budget that we were able to shift, take it from here and shift it to those employees. That sheriff's office is not in jail is not a revolving door out there. People say our sheriff's office revolving door. There's a big sign on front of that door says exit only, because that's all they're doing. They're leaving. They're not coming back. we're trying to fix that problem with this. If it works, that's great. We'll have to find out next year. But I just wanted to tell you a little bit on what we go through. And I promise you, we have not tried to mistreat Ms. Wilson or any other elected official in the process of preparing this budget. Thank you.
Mr. West, you gonna speak?
My name's Tim West, and I'm a county commissioner precinct 4 here. When I came into office, nearly 8 years ago, our county was in trouble. They were way in the hole. In fact, they haven't been giving their employees raises. In fact, one year, I think they actually took about 1.5% away. But in the last 3 years, we have been able to give our employees raises. I wish it were a great deal. It was 5% last year, averaged a little over 7% this year. And that's actually the best we can do. And when we had our meetings and all, and this is true every year, the different departments, like the commissioners, the county clerk, the district clerk, tax assessor collector, all of these salaries are exactly the same. All of us make the same amount. This year it's 51,000 something. Next year it'll be 54,000 something. So we've tried to keep it in that manner and hope that we can, because if you start getting one higher, one lower, it's divisive, number one. And one thing you don't need in government is divisiveness. We can kind of see that in Washington right now. But anyway, that's just kind of where we are, what we've been doing, and I would hope that we could continue doing it. Thank you.
Chad, you gonna speak?
I'd start by thanking y'all for being here and donating your time to the county as you have. We appreciate your service to the community. And it's an important job y'all have sitting here today. This system was designed with checks and balances where in the event we was to mistreat an elected official, they could come speak to y'all and have a fair shot. Myself, I don't feel like anybody's been mistreated in this incident. This wasn't something we decided in one day. We went back and forth on budgets for over a month, working out how to handle the employees and the pay raises. The reason we didn't do a flat 7% across the board was we realized that, and it would have helped me more by all means, because I'm on the upper end of the pay scale. But those are the ones that are hurting worse, especially in our current economy, the way inflation and all is going. So if we was to take that dollar amount, average it out and give everybody an equal dollar amount, that's a much larger raise for them, helps them much better. And I was all for that because that's what our employees need. As you've heard, they went through a long spell there of being underpaid, no raises and losing raises. I would like to have been able to done much more for them than we did, but we're limited to what we got to work with. We still have services that have to be provided. And the only way to get any more pay raise would be to take a service away from somewhere. As far as the truck allowance, I am the newest commissioner here. I've been here a little over a year and a half now. I come into office with a truck that was 3 years old, 20,000 miles on it. If all I'd done was drive that truck from my house to the courthouse and my job was solely contained here and I drove it home, I would expect y'all to tell me I need a pay cut. That would be wrong. But that's not the case. I have 264 miles of road that I am responsible for in precinct 1. When I go out to the job site where our men are working, I take my truck. I don't go to the barn and get a county truck and go. Many times on the weekends, I go out and I ride the back roads, checking one of two things. I have people that call in, notifying us of problems with the road. I go look at it, see what needs to be done, so I can tell my foreman. Or if I haven't had a chance to go by and see the task that I assigned to my road crew during the week, then I'll ride on the weekend and check that. I spend hours doing it. That truck that had 20,000 miles on it and was knocking on 4 years old, now has almost 60,000 miles on it, a year and a half later. That's not me running around doing my personal business. The bulk of that is working for the county. By the time I finish my 4-year term, my truck will be 100,000 mile wore out truck. The allotment they're giving us won't make a truck payment, insurance payment, maintenance and upkeep and fuel. And I'm responsible for all that. I can't pull up there at that pump at my barn and fill up with gas. That's still in gas. That comes out of my pocket from the truck allowance. I can't pull over to my shop mechanic and say, hey, we need to change the oil in this truck. Or hey, this alternator's gone out. That's still in from the county. That comes out of my vehicle allowance. That's what I gotta use for that. And I'll tell you right now, that vehicle allowance versus what I'm spending on truck don't work out. By the end of my first term, I will have given the county a truck. I will give them a new truck, and in exchange, I will got to use wore out truck in return. Because the allowance, we keep it low, trying to be fair and trying not to take advantage. I appreciate y'all being here. Another thing on the raises, like with the sheriff's office, I'll reiterate. We wanted to give them more, we could. All we do before was flat 3,000 for everybody. The sheriff come in and said, you know, if I can get a little bit more and maybe fill 3/4 of my positions, I'll be better off than staying at the 3 and not be able to hire nobody. I'll cut these positions a little over here. And so we took it out of what was already budgeted in his department so that he could have a chance at hiring more people. And we really, really need that. He needs more officers, he needs more jailers. Once again, I'd like to thank y'all for y'all's time. I'd like to thank y'all for coming out. I appreciate y'all serving.
Well, I have to chair the meeting, but also it don't keep you from speaking. So I'll take just a moment. Karen will tell you, me and Karen's good friends.
We are.
We came in the same time together. January the 1st, 2003, we were sworn in to serve you guys, the public. Since Karen came in 2003, she's had a 84.5% increase in salary. When she came in 2003, she was making $29,573. She's now making it with $3,000 raise would have been $54,429. I could bring every department. We get to hear it every time during budget hearings. I can bring every department in Zandt County, stand right here, and they are the glue that holds this county together. Every one of the departments. We do the best we can. I'm old school. This is my clerk, Christy. She's my clerk, has been for several years. She'll tell you he's old school. And I am. And I don't make any apologies for it. All this technology stuff that everybody believes is wonderful, mine don't work half time. I still would like a big cheap tablet and a number 2 pencil. It works. But I'm old school. I believe every elected official that signs up to run knows what that salary pays. And when you sign up to run, you agree to work for that salary. I do the same thing. Karen had signed up to run before we even started this. Karen signed up to run for re-election.
Nobody else ran.
Yeah, Karen signed up to run for re-election. Karen signed up to run for re-election knowing what the salary paid. Knowing what it paid. And then we come in and give a 3,000. Karen won't even be elected till November. She's actually, she's on the ballot. You'll get to vote for her in November. I have a problem when any elected official, and they all know me, comes in, I want this job. Would you please vote for me? I am the conservative choice of Zandt County. And as soon as we get in the office, then I need more money. I need more money. You don't pay near enough. I need more staff. I don't have near enough staff. I need more benefits. We pay every bit of the insurance, every bit. They pay nothing, and our insurance has went up. I forgot what the percentage was this year, $100-something thousand that the county absorbs for that. health insurance for the employees. Today, you have an opportunity to send a message, not to these three, but to every elected official that signs up, understand what it pays and be willing to work for them. Thank you. Okay, I believe that's all. Is there any public members that would like to speak? Chris, come on up. 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
I'll take about 2.
Okay.
My name is Chris Morris. I live in Ben Wheeler. And I had not planned on speaking. All these guys are friends of mine. Karen, whenever we get together, all we do is laugh and we can't get anything done. But I heard the word a couple of times mistreatment. As far as the definition of this procedure. And I work for an elected official and we do a lot of cross work together. I work for the state. Of course, these guys are county. And I can guarantee you one thing, there is, if there were 5 people who were not going to mistreat anybody, it's these gentlemen and this judge. That's mistreatment is not in their vocabulary. That budget process that they go through, I think you start in June, go through for months, is terribly arduous and it's a thankless job. And that you just, it's hard to make anybody happy. But they work as hard, if you can see behind the scenes how hard they do work. And they concentrate on being fair. And when I saw that the budget came out and everybody got the same raise, I thought, well, that's typical of the judge and the commissioners, and I commend you for it. But like I said, I'm not arguing Karen's case or Heath's or Pat's, but when I heard mistreat, I said, I've got to get up there and say something because that's never going to happen. And I want to say on behalf of the citizens of Zandt County, thank you for what you do. It's a hard task. And we appreciate all the time you guys put into it. And to Virgil too, who couldn't be here today. But just like I said, I work for an elected official. It's not many times when the phone rings that somebody's calling you up to tell you how great you are, or call you up to tell you we don't have any problems today. So but thank you for the work you guys do, and I appreciate the time and appreciate y'all being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
All right.
Okay, Peggy. You have 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Hi, my name is Peggy Cassell. I am currently an employee of Karen Wilson. I'm here today to read a letter from a former employee that has gone on to another job. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You will not hear me speak in front of you today, but please hear my words despite my inability to address you publicly. I had the pleasure of working for and with Miss Karen Wilson for several years. She is one of the greatest employers I have ever known and has since become a dear friend. She took a chance on me, someone who knew nothing about the legal system, and taught me, encouraged me, and loved me. The heart of this woman for you is genuine. Her loyalty for this county is immeasurable. It is not for the glory. It is not for her own satisfaction. It is for you, those in this room, and our entire county. Karen absolutely loves Zandt County. She has devoted the last 20 years to our county and will continue to do so despite the outcome of today's hearing. However, I am asking that you consider her dedication, her loyalty, her 20+ years of experience, and the abundance of knowledge that she gives daily to this position that she loves with an absolute passion. As district clerk, Ms. Wilson oversees and manages more than I can even fathom. As a former employee of the clerk's office, I know how hard Karen and her staff work to keep up with the legislative changes. The workload from day-to-day responsibilities are just too numerous to name. In my opinion, the fact goes unseen because Ms. Wilson and her team go above and beyond to ensure their duties are fulfilled with professionalism, kindness, and devotion. Over the years, I've seen Karen and her staff stay late to meet deadlines, put aside their personal time to help other offices and officials and train agencies in order to meet reporting requirements for county funding. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a fraction of what your district clerk does for our county. I could go on and on, but I know as hard as it is for me to speak in public, it's just as hard for Karen to read a recommendation letter full of affirmations explaining just how valuable she is to our county. That's why I'm doing it. I pray that today her dedication, loyalty, and love for this county are acknowledged. Thank you for your time and careful consideration for one of Van Zandt County's finest. Respectfully, Melissa Cheney.
You could state your name.
Name is Stan Stevens. I live over in precinct 3 off of 19, almost in precinct 1, but not quite. I've got a couple of questions, maybe for you or maybe for the commissioners, but I just wanted to. Can I use this? For the calculator. I like math. I'm not good at it, but I like it. There was, if I understand correctly, there is X amount of dollars in a pot that raises can be given out of. Is that correct? There's X amount of dollars in a pot that these raises can be given out of. Is that correct? Yes. Yeah. 7%. So we got a number that was divided by everybody. The people that are grieved, if you took the money that they wanted in their grievance and raised that, do we know how many dollars that would be?
I haven't turned it.
Anybody?
Probably 20,000 added up for all three.
How about
20.
20,000? How many employees are there in the county?
230.
230. So that's about $10. If you gave that raise to those people, everybody that was going to get a raise is going to get $10 on every percentage taken away from them. Would that be correct? You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying, I guess what I'm saying is, I think everybody that works for the county needs a $12,000 a year raise, but you can't do it. And when you run for a position, you know what that's going to pay. We all agree with that. When you go to apply for a job, you know what that's going to pay. And most of them nowadays, especially, you've heard the stock market is today, most of them are not going to guarantee you that next year we're going to give you this much money. They won't do that, especially nowadays. So, and I don't want to be harsh, but if you don't like it, there are signs everywhere in this county on nearly every business that says we need help. And if you have a valuable skill, you can get you a job and you might can get more money. I was a firefighter and I retired. Whatever the federal government gives me in my deal is, I don't get to go ask for more because they give it to everybody else. My wife, my oldest son, my daughter, 2 daughter-in-laws are all teachers. Now, this is not the place for it, but teachers do a whole lot for a whole little. And if they don't like it, they can go somewhere else. And they all know that. And they do. They switch jobs. They go try to find that green grass. It's like I said, like they say, you know, grass is green on the other side of the fence. But you know what? It's still grass when you get over there. So I wish everybody could get a raise, but the fair way to do it, because those people who are, if you do 7% times the guy that makes way more, he's gonna get way more money, which means basically you took a loaf of bread or a gallon of gas away from those employees who made less. Because I've not found a gas pump that says, if you make this much, we're gonna discount it to you, but if you make this much, you pay what the regular price is. It don't work that way. The grocery store, the gas station, any of those places. So it's tough times, folks. And I like it that the county is 1 minute left, or I've only been here for 1 minute. I usually don't talk this long. Do I, Chris? I know Chris. Do I, Chris? No. I usually just, anyway, I think the commissioners and you, sir, have done it right. Because I've been in those, where we work, we got those percentage raises. And every once in a while, they had to say, whoa, wait a minute, the driver's gonna make more than the lieutenant. We gotta go in there and fix it. And percentage raises for everybody is the way to fix that. And it's the fair way, because a loaf of bread is a loaf of bread at your house or my house. A gallon of gas in my truck's the same as a gallon of gas in your truck. So that's all I got. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for your time.
We got another district clerk here.
Hi there.
Hey,
Sorry I was late, Judge.
that's fine.
I'm Rhonda Hewitt. I'm District Clerk in Kaufman County. I've known Karen for 14 years. And I can tell you, she is one of the hardest working district clerks I've ever met. She was my mentor when I came into office. I can call her at night. She's still here at work. I can call her on the weekends. She's doing work. I can tell you, I'm not doing that. I have a life. I'm not gonna do that. And stuff that we do that citizens don't know, like fire department. If we don't get our CGIS reports in, they don't get grants. What we do affects grants that the county receives. Had someone in there with not experience, or if Karen just decides, I'll go to McDonald's and work. I can make more money at McDonald's. I can guarantee you, in 6 months, you'll lose your grants. You'll lose your fundings, because what our office does affects the county. That citizens don't know that. If you, Miss Peggy, people that works in office, they know that. The bookkeeping, I couldn't do my own bookkeeping. Karen does her own bookkeeping. She's OCD like that. I'm not gonna do my own bookkeeping. I have a bookkeeper. We're blessed in Kaufman County to be able to make a little bit more. If I could hire Karen, I would. As a deputy, she'd come in making more money than she would now as a district clerk. I just ask for y'all to please consider what she's asking for. I don't think it's that much. And I promise you, she'll serve you like she has in the last 20-something years. I am honored to call her my friend. I'm honored to call Judge my friend. And we are. I just like to thank y'all for the time. Thank you, Judge.
Okay, I'm Stormy Kennedy. I've worked for Karen for 5 years now. I have a letter from her daughter that she wanted it read, and I'm trying not to cry. Let me tell you a little about Karen being a mother, but let me talk about her in a different light. Growing up, Mom traveled for work, but yet she still made sure we were always taken care of, and she never missed a beat. It came from sports to school. When Mom decided to run for district clerk, her consistency remained the same, but late nights of working after her kids' activities, school work became more and more. My mother has always been a hard worker, a woman of her word, and a woman of people. She strives to make sure that the work is taken care of by her and her office is happy. I know where there are many offices where the boss just comes and goes, but that's just not Karen. I have always seen my mom get home at 10 p.m. and get work done. I have seen my mother work on weekends. I have seen my mother pretend to be okay. Even after the stress has set in, the years of countless hours Karen has put into the county is a testimony that she loves her job. My mom is involved with her office and is amazing to be a witness of. I have constantly been impressed by her initiative, her ability to work after all that she does, and truly speaks her dedication to her role in the county. I do not think she is told enough, but thank you. Thank you, Mom, for all the hard work. I owe you so much of my growth to your efforts. My mother deserves the world, but within the work world, my mom deserves this and so much more. And to the people that speak for her and can reassure her, a raise is more than what she has warranted. Thank you from Taylor, Karen's daughter.
Anyone else? Okay, you've got, stop. Go ahead.
I'm Sue Ball, and I've known Karen ever since she ran for office 20 years ago. Whenever she ran for office, she was very knowledgeable because she had worked at a district clerk's office over in Rockwall. She came in ready to go to work on the first day. She has done nothing but continue that to improve her skills and knowledge, attends all the schools that she's required to attend and take care. And I know, as being a friend, she works 9, 10 o'clock. I can call her at 11 or 12 o'clock at night and she'll be working. She takes a lot of work home. She works on weekends and her shoes will be hard to fill someday. I think she deserves what she's asking for. Thank you.
My name is Dwayne Collins. I'm a veterinarian down in Edom, and I have a few bullet points that I want to bring up. First of all, Karen and I almost kin by marriage, and I've known her for a long time. I moved to Van Zandt County because of the lifestyle that it afforded. Came from Houston, could have stayed there and made a lot more money. Moved up to East Texas. I could have set up a shingle in Tyler and made more money than I make in Van Zandt County. But I'm in Van Zandt County because I like Van Zandt County. That being said, I'm a businessman. I've got to balance my budget. I really appreciate it when the government does what business does and looks at the bottom line and does all the figuring. My insurance, my taxes, as well as y'all know, everybody in here knows our taxes have accelerated. Inflation's up. I like to give my employees raises, and I try to do that. But there is a bottom line to that raise. How many did you say are eligible to grieve their salary? 19 employees, or how many?
Yeah, all of the elected officials,
19. And I think it speaks well that we're only seeing 3 individuals grieve their salary out of those 19. They definitely have the right to. My employees certainly could make more money in other veterinary clinics or some other profession if they decided to leave. I value those employees, and it hurts when you lose them. When you lose that consistency of that same individual that's in there in your business working, and your clients come in and see them, and you have to reprogram somebody else when you have to hire a new individual. So all things considered, looking at the amount of raises we're given, how it was decided from the employees all the way to elected officials, all the way to the sheriff's office staff. It seems to me that it was fairly done. I'm I'm not on commissioner's court and it's hard for me to evaluate all their debate and figuring. But to me, it looks like it was done and done fairly. And as a citizen, I'm going to defer to those individuals on our commissioner's court who we have elected to make these decisions. And I think they made a just decision. And certainly we would all like to see everybody make all they can make, but we just have to consider the bottom line. I appreciate what this commissioner's court has done and gotten us out of debt and approached it like a business, like a business individual instead of elected officials that have a pocketbook that they can just spend our taxpayer money. Thank you.
Randall?
My name is Richard Randall. I live in the northeast part of Edgewood. I'm here today to tell you why I like Edgewood and the county we live in. It's because of this man here and these commissioners out here. I've known them for a while. I've worked with them on programs, and they're the most ethical, working, team-wise, hard people I know to do the right thing. I know they're doing the right thing with the employees, and they do the right thing with the taxpayer as I am. I trust them, and I will continue to support them. If you put them up against any other commissioners or judge in other counties, I think you'll see we got the best. What I found out about them, you got to know and learn the people you're working with. And it took me a while to do this. But I guarantee I opened up to all the people in Van Zandt County to know your commissioner and know your judges and all your officers in the county. You'll learn a lot. They have a very difficult job, and they do a great job for the employees. They do a great job for us taxpayers with the money they have. Thank you very much.
Good. Yes, sir. My name's Mike Wilson. We're no kin. Not that she's a bad person, by the way. I'm not saying that. You might not after this, but anyway. I've listened to a lot of people talk about the county. My concern is, I agree that we're probably the lowest paid county in the area. And why is it? That's because of the tax base that we're in. We can only work on what we have coming into the coffers, the money we have coming in. Now, if you want to raise the taxes so they can have better salaries, that's something you can consider. The commissioners, I don't know if y'all have ever spent any time with them. I can't tell you enough how many times they get a phone call and it's not a pleasant one. They get ripped pretty often. They've got a thankless job, and including this. When you start messing with people's salary and their livelihood, you can bet they're not going to be on the top 10 of your list for Christmas. So as far as police force, my son is a game warden. Been a game warden for nearly 20 years. He's told me more than once, he said, Dad, I'll always carry a gun, but I won't do it for pay. The way the world is right now, it is not a job that I want anybody to get a career of. They're underpaid, understaffed, and they're darn sure not appreciated. So I'm sure that the district clerk, Miss Wilson, and her staff does an excellent job. And I condemn them. I mean, I don't condemn them for that. That's a bad choice of words. I compliment them for that, by the way, because somebody's got to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm in the agriculture business. I cannot tell you how many employees that I've gone through. First thing I tell them, if you can find a job that'll benefit your family more than I can pay, I'm not going to fault you for leaving. But I have to retrain people all the time. We are replaceable. It may hurt for a long time to get somebody to do what you're doing, but we are replaceable. And I don't mean, Ms. Wilson, I'm not saying that you need to be replaced, but if I'm kind of like everybody else, you knew the job, you knew how much you're going to get paid, and I think you ought to work for that money. Another precedent you're going to have, you've got 19 other people
if we give this lady a raise, you can be assured that there's gonna be several other people in the near future to show up wanting the same thing. Just keep in mind, we've only got so much money, and that money comes out of our taxes. So to get more money in the account, we, the only other thing to do is raise taxes. Thank you, Judge.
Judge, can I use my last 2 minutes?
Let's see if there's anyone else. Is there anyone else from the public who'd like to speak?
Do we get to speak after each person?
Yes, yeah. This is Karen of the district clerk, but we got 2 more of these to go through after this. So we're gonna try to get out for 5. Is there any other more speak? Okay, Karen, 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. I don't feel like I've been mistreated by no means at all. I mean, we can agree, Judge and I, that's how come we have a great relationship like we do. We can agree to disagree. But I don't think any one of y'all would sit in a job for 20 years and take furlough days, not get raises for years and years and years. And I mean, and you have nobody to report to except y'all, the citizens. I just want to ask y'all to take deep consideration in that. I'm not going to start anything around here, but there have been, nobody knows what goes on in this county. Nobody knows what goes on behind the scenes at all. There have been substantial raises given here that nobody knows. And I'm not going to bring all that up, but I just want y'all to keep that in mind. It's not just about that one office. So I really wish I would take this into consideration. I don't think it's much at all. I think it brings me in line to where the other counties are. So I thank you for your time for coming today.
Okay. You want to pass out the 9? I would ask that when you vote, try to keep it as secret as you can. I try to, you go through this enough, you learn. I try to keep it where no one knows how you voted. And that's where I had to get the form. I don't want anyone to know how you voted. I know you get the phone call at midnight, I get another phone. So if you vote yes, you're asking for the 10,000. Let me just read the letter. She said, I'm requesting a salary change from 51,430 to 61,400. It's a $10,000 raise. Yes or no?
If we vote yes, you can give it to her. No,
That's right. That's right. Correct. Okay. And you'll give it. So if the foreman would step up, count the ballots, make sure you got 9 ballots. There should be 9 voting members. Make sure you got 9 ballots, and then you'll fill that form out. Count your ballots, make sure you got 9. Okay, if you're ready. Let me-
No.
Yeah. Okay. If you read the ballot. I mean, the form.
Okay, the committee members voted and the result of the vote was 2 for and 7 against a salary increase for the Van Zandt County District Clerk.
Thank you. Thank you. The next hearing will be for Heath Burton, precinct 2, constable here in Van County. Mr. Burton, he said, I'm requesting a salary change from $41,428 to $54,000. I don't know what I hadn't figured that out. Do you know?
What's that now?
From 41,428 to 54.
54,130, exactly what all the other elected officials are making.
Okay, but it's about a third.
Well, and on top of the 3,000, I mean, that 41,000 is going what I make this year, but you've already gave me the 3,000 right now. So I hadn't figured those numbers up. I'm just going what the other elected officials here are making.
Okay, you have 10 minutes.
I'm on. Well, hand y'all this. I'll go through or you can go along with what I'm saying. I can just read it to you, but it's kind of easy to go forward. I thank every one of y'all for coming today. I know it's not what y'all want to do on a Friday evening. We shouldn't have to be doing that. I feel quite fortunate to have been elected in my community from the peers and Van Zandt as a constable precinct 2. Been here almost 2 years now, about 1.5 years. Whenever I was elected, I didn't know what I was making. I didn't know what was going to be making, but I did not know that our sheriff was going to get indicted, that our investigators were going to get indicted, and I was going to take on a whole lot of load in serving papers and doing civil stuff. I did not know that. That ain't the job that I said. I went out and said, okay, I'm gonna be a sheriff deputy now. No, I got low quoted individual to cover up the serve eviction papers. Okay, some say it's a retirement job. No, it's not. It's my job. I take this job very seriously. If somebody calls me for help, I go help them. I'm not going to sit here and, oh no, you need to call this, you need to call that person. No, I'm going to go help. Some say, like I said a while ago, that you knew what it paid whenever you got elected. Yes, I did. Some say your job is to serve papers and do court only. If your family was out there and they needed help, you say, no, all about the constable, all we do is serve papers. Or would you want us to come no matter what it said? If it said constable, if it said sheriff, it said police. You'd want somebody in there, law enforcement, to get there as quickly and as fastly as possible. I've been told your job is to serve papers. It ain't our fault when you answer calls. I've been told that. But if it was a family member, I don't care who it was in law enforcement, I'd want to come to my house to help me out. Anybody out here, Edgewood, Wills Point, Grand Lane, Van, Troopers, County, they call me, I go. I'm not only up here also, get this clear, I'm not up here just for me. I'm up here for all the law enforcement, all 4 of the constables. I think all 4 of us need to be making this. Not, if you see on that piece of paper, we're at the bottom of the poll. 41,000. Well, after this raise, we'll get 44,000. All the other elected officials, 54,430. Besides the JPs. I can't vouch for JPs. Why they're not up here, that's on them. They basically all told us it's a waste of time to come up here and do this. But if I don't stand up for myself, nobody's gonna stand up. Just like if you have an employee, you're gonna stand up for that employee. Fortunately, I don't have no employees. They won't let me have no debt. So I'll do it on my own. I go out, all out in the county.
I don't have nobody to sit here and help me. I'll do by myself unless I call for help. I have to call somebody for help to do that. Sheriff's Department got their $5,000 raise. Every one of them needed that. Every single one of them officers needed that, and it wasn't enough. Joe did good by, or Sheriff Carter came in and got on that. Absolutely, they needed it. But people are still going out the door. Constables are still having to go help on the same little pay that we're getting. Nobody that ain't taking consideration. I'm not no politician, sit up here and just keep on, I'm focused, so y'all gonna have to excuse me on some stuff. You're a criminal, I can't talk to you. I ain't no politician. The sergeant, I've told Commissioner Pearson, I've told Commissioner Melton, I didn't get to talk to Brad today, but I've said, you know, I would have been extremely happy if y'all would just gave us what the sergeants at the sheriff's office made this year, which is around 49,000, I believe, something like that. I don't know the exact number. I would have been extremely happy with that. But if I'm gonna have to come up here and take y'all from y'all's home, y'all's Friday evenings, I'm gonna go ahead and ask for the full, just what every other elected official is making. I help everybody out. I do. Canton PD, I help them on call all the time. Wills Point, I was helping Wills Point yesterday on a search point. They called me day before. Hey, can you help? Come help. I'm there. I'm gonna go help you. Just because, even if you don't give me, if you didn't agree with me, I'm not gonna do it. I'm still gonna do my job. I want everybody to know that. But I'm up here for all four of us, not just me. I want y'all to know that too. If I get it, nobody else gets it, that's not right. According to the constable. I'm up here talking for all four of the constables. I know that Constable Jordan is out of town. He's not gonna be able to be here today, so he can't talk. All right, he didn't know his vacation was gonna take the same time as this was. Constable Jeff and Tommy, they're just now appointed, they're not even elected yet. The lady said they didn't feel right coming up here and asking. Once they got elected, maybe they would. They didn't feel right doing that. And I would appreciate your consideration on the salary increase that as constables are worth paying for your protection, your family, their friends, the community, and the county. I'd like to say I'm requesting an increase of $41,428. That was before the $3,000 that they did give each employee for the county. They give law enforcement. Every law enforcement officer got $5,000, except for the constable get $3,000. That's all they got. Now y'all don't have to go up here and say, okay, we agree with 54,430. My understanding is you can make a number that you think that we're above whatever we're asking, above the 41,000. Y'all can say, okay, well, maybe the officer deserves at least the 5,000 raise that the sheriff's department got, or the sergeant. Make sheriff department. A rookie off the streets is going to come in making $400 less than us constables. And between the four constables, there's a little over 80 years worth of experience. I have 20. Pat has too many to count, 30, 35. I don't know. I think Jeff has around 20, 25, 35. Jeff has 35. I mean, just in us two, there's 90 years. And I don't know about Constable Monk. I believe he has about 15 or maybe 15. I don't know about full time. But I think every one of us deserve that, not just me. And I just want y'all to take that in consideration. And I thank y'all for your time. Brian, how much time do I have left?
2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Okay, like I said before, what we try to do, we try to be fair with every department based upon, how every other county in the state does it. And unfortunately, maybe for the constables, but they are the lowest paid in every county. As a matter of fact, we were talking a while ago when talking about Karen, the commissioners are a little over 17% below the average in 15 counties that are of our size. The constables are the very closest to being on the average. The average is 45,766, and they make 41,428, which is 4.3% with right about the average. Everybody else in the county is over 10% except our auditor. So, you know, you just can't pick and choose who you're going to give these raises to. And I'm not saying that they don't do a tremendous amount of business now or work, but now, like the sheriff said, he's having a hard time getting employees at any number, really. And yet we had to replace actually 2 constables this year. One, when he was up for election, we had 12 people apply for that one job. So somebody thinks it's a good deal. Anyway, just thank you all for being here. We're trying to do our best. Thank you.
Just let me in.
No, I might as well come next. I wanna tell y'all, this is a very tough situation because as far as I'm concerned, we have probably got the best 4 constables on staff in Van Zandt County than we've had in a long time. They're top notch. But let me tell you something, us as taxpayers and doing the business of the county, we cannot afford to pay Heath or any other of the 4 constables what they're worth. If they were going to a corporate job interview, the hiring supervisor would say, "Sir, I want to hire you very bad, very, very much, but you are way highly overqualified for this job." But I appreciate you, Heath. You're an excellent officer. You do fantastic work, but we do not pay for the person. We pay for the position. That's what we have to have. What happens if in 2 years, Heath gets an opponent and he loses, and we have somebody on there that is not a Heath Burke? He's a Keith Pearson, don't know what the heck he's doing. And you cannot raise the salary for that position based on the person that's in it. If you did, you would be constantly, okay, I gotta pay this constable this because he's worth this. I gotta pay this constable this. So you have to go by the position. I'm sorry. I told you a while ago, we live in Van Zandt County. We didn't structure the pay of the elected officials. I guess it was structured whenever elected officials came about, because all 254 counties in the state of Texas structure the elected officials at the same, with the constables being the lowest paid elected official in the county. The JP's next, so on up. I'm sorry, but we have to watch. We have to watch our money. We have to pay for the position. Thank you.
Sir, maybe we got one more.
Well, let's start by saying thank you to Heath and the other street constables. We have 4 good working constables in the county. I'm very proud of that. Once again, going back to the way we've done the pay raise, as Commissioners Court, we agreed to give 3,000 to everybody. The only reason the sheriff was a little higher was because he chose to cut positions in order to try to get people hired into those spots. And by giving them the 3,000, that puts them up there where they're right in that median average range of other counties. And that's why I felt like it was a fair number to do that. We appreciate what they do. We wish we could give them more like we do everybody else, but we're going to do what we can do. After much consideration and discussion, Commissioners Court come with, we're giving 3,000. And that's the best we could do. And I just want to let y'all know that it wasn't an easy thought. It wasn't something we done at whim. We felt like as far as all our other paid officials, they're closer to equal compared to other counties than anybody. And with this raise, they're right there almost in the middle. And that's why we went that route. Once again, I appreciate y'all's time today.
Okay, we're in another one. Did I mention I'm out of school? I did. We've worked, Heath does a great job. He come in, he's been here 1 year and 8 months. Here we are asking for a raise. You heard Heath mention the other two's uncomfortable, but after they've been there a while, they may be here. That's the world we live in. That's the world we live in. Heath has worked at the sheriff's office, the school. He's a great officer. You hear him compare to the constable's job to the sheriff's department and the deputy's job. There is a difference in those jobs. When we have a vacancy in the constable's position, we don't have trouble finding people to run for constable. We have vacancies at the sheriff's department. We can't get people to come out there. And I think part of the deal is the constable has no supervisor. Constable is the supervisor. He can take off when he wants to. He works his schedule. Yes, he gets calls all hours of the night. There's not a one of us that don't. Me and the sheriff's on the phone this weekend. We got a call on a Sunday evening, got a dead body in the house. And we're on the phone communicating. But there is a difference in being a constable and being a deputy in Van Zandt County. When you're a deputy, you have a supervisor, you have hours, there's responsibility, you'll come in and you report to those supervisors. When you're the constable, which I'm not saying it's an easy job, I wouldn't have. You're still laying your life on the line, but there is a difference in those two. If not, why do we have people applying? We've got people that will sign up to run for constable, and we're having to raise salaries to get them to run for deputies. Because when that phone at the sheriff's office 911 rings, that deputy don't have any choices. They gotta go. And Heath come in a year and 8 months ago and has received with this $3,000 raise, 12.8% salary increase in a year and 8 months. Year and 8 months, 12.8%. Guys, we're doing the best we can. And let me ask you, when they're sitting here asking you for a raise, they're asking for it to come out of your pocket. It's the taxpayers of Van Zandt County that's funding it. That's where all the money comes from. And you can always compare it. I talked to an officer out of Rockwall County. And I said, we're losing officers to these other counties, Rockwall County. He said, yeah, you can, but they can't buy a house in Rockwall. Not on that salary. You can commute in, make good money in the sheriff's department, but you can't afford to buy a house there. Because it's $1 million homes going up there. And for the commissioner's court, we have done what we thought was fair. And again, I'm not trying to be ugly, with all the respect in the world. Well, if they're making that much money out there at the sheriff's office, then go apply for it. Nothing keeping you from going there. And thank you for your time. I think the commissioner's court has done a very good job with the salaries and the best they could with the money. And I would mention the money, that all the new property y'all see built and everything. We brought in a little about $600 and something thousand extra in Van Zandt County, and every bit of it went to the employees of Van Zandt County. Didn't go for a courthouse that's falling apart. If you've seen that, or go to the district court, it went to the employees of Van Zandt County. And I will tell you, $3,000 a year raise. They got a 5% last year. We averaged the 7 this year. I'm very pleased with the raises we have given our elected officials this year. Thank you. Okay, sir.
My name is Jay Meyer. I just moved down to Van Zandt County about 8 years ago from Alaska. I've been in law enforcement over 30 years. I came here today to argue for Heath, but not just for Heath, but for the constable's position. The problem here is, in the beginning, they didn't fund this position properly to begin with. I want you to consider very carefully, the constable has to go to the same law enforcement school that a deputy sheriff goes to. He has to put in months of training to qualify for that job. He has to get that certificate. And when he gets it, he goes in front of a judge and he swears his oath, the same as a deputy, to lay his life on the line for you and your property. Now, he surely should be worth the same pay as a deputy sheriff. I don't care what they funded it at. They were wrong. If it was less than a police officer, it was wrong. Our sheriff's department is coming around. It's getting it back on track. The sheriff, you just can't say enough about law enforcement people. I'm dedicated to them. But if they were underfunded, then surely the constable was as well. That's all he's asking. He doesn't want more than they make. He wants what they got, the same pay. I take the judge's remarks to begin with about disagreeing, and Judge, I gotta disagree with you. Because
You're not,
well, I'm sure of that. To say that he knew what the pay was when he took the job is no different than the deputy sheriff hires. He hires in at that pay scale, and after a month or two finds out he can't make a living, he wants more money, and he knows the next county's paying more. I mean, Christ, if I listened to you, I'd still be working for $1.25 for the same job when I got out of high school.
that's not true.
Oh, yes, it is. Inflation, the cost of living is going up. Everything is different. Every time the government changes the wage to $15, then all the landlords raise the rent. The cost of everything goes up. We're living right now in 2022, and what it costs to live now is what these people have to survive. They love Van Zandt County. They want to stay here, but they have the same obligations that you and I have. They got to take care of their wives. They got to put their kids through college. They got to eat. Like I said, I don't know what that job should be funded for. That's up to the commissioners. But surely it should be funded the same when he has the same education level, the same training level, and swore the same oath. What's the difference? There is none. And as you said, in fact, he might be worth more since he operates, like you said, completely on his own volition. Nobody has to tell him what to do. Right? And you're so very satisfied with him. You say he's doing everything. I know he is. I've met a lot of police officers. I really like Heath Burton. I voted for him. I think he's a great addition to Van Zandt County. He's a good police officer. I'm sure the sheriff would love to hire him right now. Anyway, please consider that. At least give him the same as you're giving to the other officers.
Anyone else?
Good evening. I'm Chief Aaron Long with the City of Wilson Point. I'm here on behalf of everybody on the bottom half of this list. And I apologize, I'll take it for you because I did not know how this worked. I would say the first question I want to ask you is quality versus quantity. We all want very nice things in life, and with that becomes a price. I hear some of these gentlemen making multiple statements of repeated mistreatment. It's not about being mistreated as a person. I apologize. Nope. I'm bad enough anyways. It's not about mistreatment as a person, but as the lawful position that Heath Burton, the other three constables, and all the justices of the peace have, okay? Heath Burton's position as a constable is the same as mine, as my responsibility as the chief of police and as the sheriff of Joe Carter. We all had to become a peace officer for the states, We all had to become a peace officer in this county. We've all had to take multiple continuing education levels of 20+ years. I'm at roughly 15, 17 years of public safety and 30-something years with Joe Carter, okay? We're at the top of our agencies for a reason. He is the top of his agency because he is an elected constable. That means he is the chief administrator of that department, means he is responsible for financials, arrests, reports, seizures, everything of daily operations that I'm responsible for my officers. He's responsible for himself. Because as y'all heard him say, he's not allowed to have any officers or any deputies per se of the correct terminology. He has to do it himself. He assisted us yesterday on the northern part of the county where we were helping the sheriff's office with a raid. He didn't have to. He could have just stayed in his office and said, you know what? I'm sorry, Chief Long, I'm not helping y'all. I'm serving papers only. We've had those constables in our county. And guess what? They're gone. Thank God they're gone. 2 of them were gone last year for poor performance, okay? This man and these other 3, so the 4 total, have become amazing and astonishing. Talking about amazing and astonishing is appalling. It's astonishment and appalling. I can't think of the word I'm trying to talk. It's horrible to see this $44,428 for a chief administrator to be paid. I'm not asking for him to be equal pay salary of what I make or what the sheriff makes, but $44,000, with the $3,000, if you break that down with your retirement, your insurance, your taxes, everything else, that comes up to 56 cents on the dollar. 56 cents comes up to $45 a paycheck on an 80-hour work week, because salary, based on salary, state law says salary 40 hours a week. Though that being said, he's been told that he's a part-time employee. He puts in as many hours as I do, if not more, which is averaging 100 hours of pay period on salary. So he's doing 40 hours a week plus for this $44,000. Again, I'm not asking for y'all to look at for him to make $75,000, $80,000 a year, but $50,000 area, as he said a while ago, y'all get to counter what he's asking for. Think of it truly. Think of it what that position is worth. Because I heard her say, is it on the merit or the position? You can go on merit. You can go on each person on their performance. Because I promise you, I'm not going to give my officers who are sitting at the end of the day not doing anything the same raise as I'm going to my administration staff who works their tail up and does the same thing that I do. So think about it as the person in that position of what they're bringing to you as this county. I've worked 17 years on Monday on public safety. 15 of those years have been in this county. I've worked at this sheriff's office with very, very underpaid. Both of my administrative staff that is here has worked under poor pay, okay? So again, it goes back to quality versus quantity. You can talk about, he said the other 2 weren't here because they were just appointed. So you talk about the repercussions of that, okay? Talk about the repercussions of that. They're scared to be here because they're scared of the repercussions from the commissioner's court and other people, what's going to happen to their position. So that being said, I ask you, think about what these constables and these justices of peace bring to the table of what they're providing for law enforcement for the county. And I will close on this, talking about government funding. We have a sign that says we're debt-free. Educate yourself on government funding, because I promise you, you will be amazed of the true definition, because to get better things, you have to present debt, okay? You cannot be completely debt-free and have better interest rates and everything. I understand that as a chief administrator for my department. So educate yourself with true government funding and how that can help you. Because they keep saying, raise our taxes. As a taxpayer, I would love it. I would love to bring more tax revenue to this county to provide these men and women that are doing their jobs across the board. To her, to all these ladies and everybody sitting in here, I would pay more taxes because I used to live in Kaufman County. So the higher taxes you want to pay for it, I promise you, everybody would.
So what does a deputy in Benton County have?
Their current salary is $38,900 a year.
38,009. Thank you.
Any other one? Okay.
Well, I don't think they want me to talk.
Yeah,
I don't think they want me to talk. Oh, Greg Taylor. I don't think they want me to talk, Bill.
Yeah, come on.
Why?
They do.
Well, I don't think the pay's fair. Does anybody over here know what a constable's job really is? Anybody know? Anybody know?
No, you don't. His job only is to serve papers and bailiff court. Anything else he does, he wants to. Did you know that? Anybody? He's doing all this on his own time, protecting your family. You want to do that? No, these sheriffs, they're underpaid. I'm underpaid. Look at me. I'm underpaid. I didn't like Heath years ago. He'll tell you, right? Everybody in this room knows that. I like it now. So you got to start paying more money. You guys got any questions? Anybody? Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So said that you served 15 years in this county? Yes, sir. You ever want to quit your salary? Actually, when I was presented as for the city of Wood Point, I was asked what I felt my position was. Oh, for this county? For this county? You served this county? No, sir, we weren't allowed to. Just not allowed or didn't have an opportunity? We were never given opportunity. No, I was a deputy. Yes, okay.
Yeah, I don't think the employees can grievance unless they just leave. Can they?
No.
I only see two guys in here in law enforcement making a whole lot of money. And the rest of us, we're struggling. For what they do above and beyond serving papers. You got to consider that. That's all the state says he has to do. Bailiff's court, serve papers. You want him out there protecting your family? Anybody? You're not saying anything. I mean, talk. I do overwhelm. I am overwhelming, but I'm trying to get the point across that these guys do above and beyond, not just the minimal. Most people do minimal. I'm Greg Taylor. I'm a chief deputy constable. I don't get paid. I'm happy to do it. I've been an Edgewood officer almost 15 years, and there's not enough money.
And that's not true. They can cut the salary. The commissioners court can cut the salary. Every year, these commissioners have a choice to up your salary or lower your salary.
What was the reason for not getting raises? Was that like that? Everyone didn't get raises? I know you said you didn't get raises for yours. So does that apply to?
The county had no money at that time.
I didn't have no employees to get a raise.
Okay.
I'm gonna start my 2 minutes. One second.
You gotta.
I didn't have no employees to be able to get a raise. So I had to worry about that. I was on my own. If that's what you're asking about it. So it's just me out there. I asked for an employee. I did. I asked for an employee because there is a part-time deputy here that stays in the precinct 3. And he only rides precinct 3, but he don't work for the sheriff's office to answer calls. He just does what that commissioner wants him to do, go stop overweight if he is. But we cannot get nobody up for doing that.
You're doing way more work than what you signed on before originally.
Absolutely, 100%.
But that's all the list you choose to do over and above.
But you want me to choose not to answer a call for your, I'm just asking, would you want me to choose not to, if somebody was bringing a call 911, I'm not going, I was gonna do it for paper.
Well, I mean, okay, I think that's a strong man, but okay. But it's a choice you make personally.
Yes.
I'm not debating.
It is a choice. It is a choice I make.
And I appreciate it.
Because I took an oath to protect y'all.
Absolutely.
You had to let because you work hard for us. And you had to make conversations.
Absolutely, and it was just me and the former constable. There wasn't a whole list of constables to run for my position.
So you get 911 calls.
Absolutely.
Okay, why?
There's not enough sheriff department.
Okay, so the sheriff department calls you for 911.
Well, it's over the radio and it's on a computer screen.
Did I hear what he wanted to say? Yeah, because he may be the closest officer.
Absolutely.
You shut it down and I want.
Yeah, there's a computer screen. Since sheriff has came into office, I've gotten, or since Sheriff Joe Carter was appointed, I have now been able to come over to Scott, and Scott was able to give me the Southern software system where I can see the calls. Just the whole, maybe I am closer to where one of their 2 deputies is not in Rolling Oaks, and I'm over here in Tall Oaks off of 198, about 8 miles by myself. But I can answer that call. They ain't coming all the way from Rolling Oaks. So now we're starting to be able to work together now. At one time, I wasn't even allowed to walk in the sheriff's office when the other sheriff was here, unless I was escorted like a prisoner.
Okay.
Another minute for me?
No,
No?
no.
I'm gonna get in trouble for speaking that.
I'm Faith Karn. My husband is constable in precinct 3, newly appointed. And my only question is really several, I should have wrote them down. Commissioners, it was stated that the structure is that the constable is the lowest paid. Isn't that what one of you said? Correct? Is it a state mandate that they're the lowest paid?
No.
Break the mold. Break the mold. Why weren't they given a little bit more, the 5,000? Why do we have to do what everybody else is doing on the structure? But you need to consider what they are doing. And personally, everyone at sheriff's deputies should come in at 20,000 more. These guys can start at Terrell PD for 62,000. But as far as our constables, why are they kept at the lowest? Have y'all considered that? I don't consider each request of even just hitting the 5,000 or being brought to the level of the sergeant. But do these guys have that charge? Because I understand you said yes or no. Is that their only vote? Or can they vote to say, give them the 5,000? Okay, my understanding, I thought it was just, because when you talked about Karen, I thought it was yes or no. That is what they understood too. Okay.
They have to put in writing.
And just for a word, my husband was not scared of phone calls.
It was the second that was. That was advised by.
And this is what you get into every time. And this is exactly what we get into. You set the meeting up to go with this, and this is where you evolve it.
They were not allowed questions, or they did not take questions from Karen, and now they don't want to keep.
And what?
Could they have asked questions from Karen?
Yes, they could have. He is just the chairman, the chairman of this hearing.
Somebody's gotta be in charge.
Nobody read all.
If you want to turn it over, let everyone in here ask questions, but I'm leaving at some point tonight.
No, sir, I understand, but that's why I asked that question. I wanted to make sure
Okay.
what I said to Jane would be considered.
Okay.
And I don't think everything was explained.
Well, I knew, and I've already said, coming into this meeting, every time we have one of these meetings, I'm always criticized, well, you should have done this, you should have done that, you didn't handle it correctly. I would have handled it completely different. I understand that coming in. That's just part of it. That's part of it.
Feel like I could not answer.
You didn't feel like you couldn't. I think she was asking questions.
Not by them.
I think where the confusion came is whenever, mine was probably the confusion. The confusion I think came to them was whether, whenever I said they're allowed to write something down other than what I'm asking for, maybe more than what I'm making, but less than 54,000 that I'm asking. I think that's where the confusion started all this, and it's really just a simple question. Can they have a piece of paper and write down? They didn't know they could do that for Karen. Can they have a piece of paper to write down, or can they write it on the piece of paper you got them instead of checking yes or no? Can they write down a price that they want?
Okay, and when you get 9 different prices, what are you gonna do?
That's why you got a form.
They have to make a motion, Judge.
Huh?
Somebody has to make a motion to,
And it's happened before.
yeah, and I didn't want to use my
Yeah,
minutes
but
to.
you were there. You were
conduct
there.
your-
But what I'm saying, that's why you have. a
But
form.
somebody has to make a motion.
Yes.
When you agree to salary, like y'all set a price, right?
Yes, sir.
Like you're requesting.
The 61,000. You could have gave me the 3,000 that I probably won't get. Right now,
You
through the
get
agreement.
that anyway, but you're requesting 61, you're requesting 54.
Yes, sir. And what y'all done, what y'all have to understand is that's only for a year. That is only for a year. They're gonna take it away
No,
from
my
you.
point is, like, when you agree to salary, can you say, I want to increase my salary, I think I need more money. Or do you have to put a salary expectation of what you want? Yeah.
Yes, because y'all can lower it.
Y'all can lower it.
You start out high
On
because
the
by
free-
somebody's.
They have mileage, they have all kinds of expenditures. They can increase the expense. They can increase their, it might not be the same, it might be an expense that they get approved.
But they gotta put a certain number.
They have to put a number on there. It has to be specific.
We have to say, let's know that number.
Well, you don't technically, you don't have, but in order to keep the order and keep the meeting going. I mean, we can be here all night. Yeah. We can be here when the sun comes up. That's the reason they have to ask for this, and there it is, yes and no. If you guys want to sit there 2 hours and discuss, okay, I don't see that, but I see this and everything. I mean,
it's pretty
But that's really not our job. That's y'all, the commissioners, and that's, that's y'all's job to set the price.
Yeah.
We can just say, I like it or I don't like it.
Yeah, and somebody
Okay.
can make a motion.
Yeah, is there any other? Okay, Sharon?
Yes, sir. I've known Heath for many years and he's a hard working soul, I'm telling you. He sacrifices a lot from his family. I see him umpiring, I see him taking time away from his kids. Joe, I'm so glad that he became our sheriff. He's going to turn that sheriff's office around. I was in the constable's grievance here, budget here. And Pat Jordan and Heath asked for another employee. And they were denied that. But like I said a while ago, these salaries are for 1 year, y'all. I guarantee they have given raises in the past and taken them away. They're going to be taken away. All I ask, that 51,000, I make it right now. He's gonna bring home $650 on his paycheck a week. That's what I make. My husband's a police officer, work for the county. I don't have a second income. He's got a business, but it's not up and running to make a profit by no means. If y'all give him that, it's only gonna be for 1 year. So I ask y'all really and take that into consideration. Y'all can make a motion. You can say, hey, let's only give him 5,000. We can give him 3,000, whatever y'all want to give him, an extra 3. He's going to get 3 proposed, but y'all can give him whatever y'all want. It just has to be somebody that has to make the motion. And Doc Collins and all them, these are some true politicians up here, y'all. I'm not a politician, I'll tell you just like it is. But I'm not going to get into all of that because I promised I would not. But if you really want to see what goes on around here and the races that go to certain people, let me know. Let me know because I will tell you exactly what happens. There are new positions made in the middle of the budget year that benefit somebody. That's happened twice. So there is money, y'all. There is money. And it's going to be that Heath is going to go out and help the sheriff office. I guarantee you, Sheriff. Until the sheriff gets that department full, he is going to help that sheriff's office. It's in his blood. And if they didn't give him another deputy to help him, at least give him the money for right now, because it's only for 12 months. Thank you.
And I would, you're here, it's just, it's not.
She's got to work in this building now.
It's not necessarily true. You can't set up here and make statements that I guarantee you they'll take it. She said they give raises and took raises away. That, just a moment. That was a great, that's what we need to give them right. Okay. Come on up.
I have worked for the sheriff's office for 3 different administrations. I'm not a public speaker. This is way out of character for me. 1 year, they did give us a 3% raise cost of living. The very next year, under a brand new sheriff, they took that 3% and then threatened to make us pay our own insurance. So don't say that it's a mistruth, because it's not.
No.
No. Anyway, I'm not wasting my time that I have with you. Yes, sir.
this, and I'm telling you, I experienced every bit of what I've heard.
Absolutely. But when you say, if you don't like the pay, go apply at the sheriff's office. Okay, so what happens when every law enforcement official in this county decides they don't like the pay and y'all pay the price for that?
Yeah.
The citizens, I live here also. The tax-paying citizens pay the price. Right now, Sheriff Carter, they're struggling, bad struggling. Y'all are paying the price. From what I've heard, the jail is down to like 30 inmates is all y'all can hold right now. Is that correct? Yes, because of the jail stand. Okay, so that was, anyway. So right now, the sheriff's office can't keep up with the call load that they have. When I was a sergeant at the sheriff's office, as a sergeant, I would average 15 to 20 calls a day. There's 2 deputies, one north and one south. Right now, they have investigators running calls trying to help the deputies answer the calls that are coming in. But while those investigators are answering calls that are coming in, there's no crimes being investigated because they're answering calls for service. So the victim of that is the citizens of the county, because they're being put on the back burner. Then you have constables who are stepping up to try to fill some of that void. And when they ask for a little bit of incentive as far as money for their extra assistance that they do on their own. I help the county. I work, the police departments in this county all answer calls in the county to help the sheriff's office. We're all in this together, so we help each other. I don't think it's too much to ask for more money from every law enforcement official in the county, city, state, whatever it may be. But for them to sit up here and say, if you don't like it, leave, that's pretty crappy, in my opinion. So.
Okay, you've had your 5 minutes. One other point. I ran some numbers, I did lots of notes. I'm the kind of person who takes notes. I want to be informed. So I want to be fair. I don't choose a side. I want to understand all of the facts. What I found is that in running the numbers, that in accordance with the budgets of each of those counties, what we pay our constables for this particular county is commensurate. In fact, it's within 1 to 1.5%. That's the variance.
Okay.
So yes, we can arbitrarily say, well, so-and-so makes this amount. I'm here, variances for the gap is this big, then I deserve to fill the gap. I deserve for you to pay me for the gap, for the variance. Well, okay, that's arbitrary, and we can all make a point why we should earn more. But I sit on boards. I sit on a missions board.
You ever get shot at?
No.
Okay.
But
That's all I got to say.
You're not very
Sergeant Charlie, you. Sergeant, look, no disrespect. I respect all law enforcement. In fact, I praise them for the job that they do. But I have a personal responsibility too to care for this county, almost 900 square miles. I don't understand. Okay. Donegan. Yeah.
My name is David Dunnigan. I live in precinct 2, down the road from Jay. And I've been here coming up, believe it or not, Judge, on 5 years. And my perspective of this is as a citizen and as owning and running businesses for over 30 years, is that when I moved here, I was thrown into a situation which, on the good side, gave me an opportunity to spend time with the judge, with several of the commissioners, the sheriff's department, the county clerk's office. And I can tell you right now that everybody here is right about pay.
because I worked with these people and I've seen all these people. And they work really hard. I'm a ham radio operator and I listen on the scanner. And so I listen to the calls that you guys get. I never could do your job. It's amazing in law enforcement how much time and effort they spend. And they are radically underpaid. Clerk's office is underpaid. Commissioners are everybody in this county is underpaid. But I don't want to make everybody seem hungry here, but if the budget were like a key lime pie and I put it out in front of all y'all and said, here are your slices, and then Lou Ann suddenly come up and said, well, I want a bigger slice. The pie isn't going to get any bigger. Everybody else is going to get a smaller slice. So I could never do your job. You guys have a set amount of money to use every single year, and you've got to divide it up the best you can. And unfortunately, listening to everybody here, it means everybody kind of loses. But the other side of the coin is, okay, let's increase our tax base and let's bring more money into this county, and then we can divvy the money out. Now, this year, everybody's property values went through the roof. That's more money that could come into the county. But everybody complained about their taxes going up, their property taxes going up. Now, I listened to recently, Kaufman County, with extra money they have and some of the things they wanted to do. Well, this county could do that. If you want to bring a Buc-ee's in here, an Amazon fulfillment center, a Walmart fulfillment center, and other big businesses into Van Zandt County and increase the tax base like Kaufman County did by $1 billion, then the money's there and people can get paid at least closer to what they should be being paid. Now, I do know you work hard and I appreciate what you do. And I will agree that compare your position in the other 15 counties that are comparable, you're more up there than the rest of them. And I agree that you're underpaid, but the problem can't be solved by saying, okay, we're going to fix one person's problem. If you're going to fix everybody being underpaid, you got to fix everybody's. And where's the money going to come from? Your pocket, your property taxes? Or a lot of people like Canton and Van Zandt County to be small and to be rural. We say, let's give that up. Let's give up being rural. Let's give up being small. Let's bring all these big businesses in here and then everybody can get paid. But these gentlemen have done the best they can with the money that they have. And as a business owner, I can say two things. Number one is, yeah, I tell my employees, if you feel like you're worth more than I am able to pay you, there are other jobs out there. There are jobs available signs everywhere. I would hate to see people like Heath or any of the rest of y'all leave. And I know darn good and well one reason you say is because you love this county. Absolutely. And it's the only reason that any of y'all are here as elected officials. But you came into office knowing this is what the situation is, here's what the money is. And I really appreciate you going above and beyond. But it's a system that's broken across the board, not just in one position. So it's not any one person doesn't necessarily have a grievance. In reality, the whole county does, because of the amount of money that's just not there. Now, you've done a real good job from taking a county when you came in, it broke. And you talk about being debt free. And then somebody made the comment, well, there's what, 80 million in reserves that you got. Or how much? 8 million? 8 million. 8 million. I guess you would do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's being a good steward to have money set aside. It would be a bad steward to go, I got $8 million, or I'm going to go throw it out to everybody, because if something super bad happens, the county's got to have reserves to pay for it. So anyway, it's a bad problem. It's not a grievance on one person. It's just the way the budget is in the money. Thanks.
Any others? Being none,
You're gonna be out before 5.
I don't know. We got one more to go.
He's in Galveston.
We'll read his letter.
Oh,
Yeah, is that where you?
I don't know, Galveston, Florida, Alabama, the beach. Go on vacation.
Wait, he might wait back.
What's the?
Judge, are they gonna make a motion on what they're voting for? I thought they had to.
Got a yes, no ballot on the letter that was presented.
But they can make a motion to,
They could. Are you trying to coach them in good?
no, I'm just saying. I mean, that, you should have read all the rules
No. I mean, were they?
in that packet for salary.
You have any ballots?
It can't be a yes or no. They have to make a motion, then vote on one through one. Somebody has to make a motion.
You show me that where someone has to make a motion.
Okay, the result of the vote was 4 for and 5 against. Sally.
Thank you. We'll go to the. Okay, Pat Jordan. Is Constable in precinct 4. And I believe according to him, let me make a call for Pat Jordan. Sure he's not out there.
Jordan.
No response from Constable Jordan, but he did turn in a letter agreement his salary. I will read the letter to you. It says, please accept this letter as my formal notice to grieve my salary for the 2022-2023 budget year. I ask for my salary to be raised to $54,430. My 2021-2022 salary was $41,428.05. All county employees received a $3,000 salary increase for the 2022-2023 budget year, except for all 4 commissioners, the sheriff, and all deputies and jailers, who received a $5,000 increase. This brought my salary to $44,428.05. I wholeheartedly support the additional $2,000 that law enforcement received. What I don't understand is why the constable didn't receive at least the same raise. Every deputy at the sheriff's department makes more money than the elected constable. The constable should be making the same pay as the other elected officials. That includes the 4 commissioners, the district clerk, and the county clerk, the tax assessor collector, and the county treasurer. I, as well as the 3 constables work well over 40 hours a week and are subject to call 24/7. I do not have additional income coming in, but if I did, that should not be the issue. The constable should be treated as equals with fairness and respect. Pat Jordan, Constable Precinct 4. This is the first time I've had to go through an issue where somebody agreed their salary and then they didn't, they're not here, but I get that. So put some thought into it. Pat turned the letter in. I want to have the hearing on behalf of the letter in fairness. We'll go through the same process. As Pat, that was his letter, what he said. Okay. We'll do the same. Is there any commissioners want to speak? You have 10 minutes.
Judge, I'm not gonna go over the same thing over and over. I just want to address one statement in that letter that said the 4 commissioners did not get that $3,000 raise. That is not true. We did. The 4 commissioners did receive the $3,000 raise that every other elected official got. So I wanted to make that real clear. I didn't want y'all to be misled on that statement. Thank you.
Okay. Wes, did you want to speak or not?
I will. I just need to make one clarification on the letter that you read. Was he said that the constables made less than the deputies, and that's not true. With the $5,000 raise that the deputies got and the $3,000 that the constables got, the deputies are going to make $43,958, and the constables are going to make this here $44,428. So the constables make more than the deputies, not less, and that's the only statement I've got.
Okay.
Do the deputies, is their health or insurance covered completely too?
Yes.
All can, okay.
Anyone else from public want to speak?
For the public, I'm gonna speak for Pat.
Okay.
I know I've already been turned down, so, and I told you I would do my job no matter what, if I got it or didn't. I'm here for the people, but we jumped, I don't know if y'all understood there about a starting deputy 1 month out of the academy is gonna make $500 less than a 30-something-year officer that has to buy signs, that has to put out signs, that has to run an election, and has to run his own office and make his own stuff to the state. We have more hours, the constables have more hours than any law enforcement in the state for every cycle that we have to take. It used to be in our 40-hour, 80-hour class, 40 hours. When we go to school, all of our stuff used to be in one class. Now they're breaking it down. Now we have to go to civil process, we have to go to courtroom schools, we have to go to constable. Where an officer, we have to go 40 hours, that's it. So they're putting more and more on us. Me and Pat in the last 6 or 7 months, we have solved numerous burglaries. We've been working together, and now that since Jeff and Tommy have gotten all 4 of us work together. I've been working in this county. I've worked in several different divisions. Narcotics, I've worked in patrol, canine, I've worked in all that. I have never seen 4 constables work together. And the whole time I've been here. And Pat's been here longer than anybody, and I'm gonna tell you, Pat puts more hours in than any of us do. As a constable, I call him 7 or 8 o'clock at night. When somebody calls me, asks a question, what are you doing? I'm not gonna warn up, still at the office. He's still at the office doing that. So, I mean, we're more than what y'all see out there. We're whatever people talk about us, somebody come up here and talk trash about you all day long. You don't deserve this, you don't deserve that, which you've all heard. I said it for all 4 of us, not just me. Okay, I'm not gonna be the one that a call comes out, and neither is Pat gonna be the one that a call comes out. He's gonna go, no matter what, Pat's gonna go, and he's gonna continue going. I think he said he agreed his salary probably 5 or 6 times, and he got it one time. And he's also known that we've also already been told If they give it to you, get ready, because you're gonna lose it at the end of the year, just like agree with the We do what we're agreeing for when we came up here. And y'all are the ones that had to waste y'all time coming up here for this. When all we're asking is all fairness and law enforcement to make the same as law enforcement. We're not asking more than what the law enforcement is making. That's the same as me. I think that asked for, if I read it, they were around 54,
Yeah.
54, 430. That asked the same thing as I did. What all the other elected officials make. That's all he's asking for. He's not asking for 55,000. No, he's asking the exact same thing. So, just please take into consideration of this letter. Pat does a lot for this county, not just this precinct. He does a lot. He helps me out whenever I first become constable. There was stuff I did not have a clue about certain papers. You asked me a question about arrest somebody over drugs, I could take the hard people on the county civil stuff. I was like, oh God, what do I do? And he's helped me, he's helped Jeff, and he's helped Tom over there answer all of our questions. Kind of like I guess he'd be a mentor for all four of us, because he's been in it long. If you have a question that you're gonna go ask somebody to know the board. I'm not just gonna do it just because for the fun of it. I'm gonna ask somebody to know. So just take his later consideration, and no, you didn't give it to me, but it ain't gonna hurt my feelings if you give it to him. We all deserve it, every one of us. Thank you.
Anyone want to speak? Okay. Seeing none? Okay. Yeah, so make sure everyone can hear you.
I do find it's hard, because all of them, everyone has said something great, that we have great service, but then I've also heard the money's not there, the money's not there. How can we expect these people to work so hard for us if we're not having to work? So I vote yes for all three. I'm putting that out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
And for Karen, about 20 years of service, I think that she lost her raise. Or didn't get a raise multiple years. That was that. I think it should have been made up at some point. So I don't feel like this was fair. I think we deliberated privately with the board. So we've been discussing.
You were supposed to get that off,
I don't mean talk chaos.
but everybody wanted to leave before 5.
All right, the result of the vote was 3, 4, and 6 against. Solid.
Okay, I hear you. Thank you, guys. Again, they should have gotten off. I will always be criticized for the way you handle it. I understand that when I signed up for it. I understood. I get it. I don't take it personally. You do the best you can. You've seen at one point in time that you've got to be on top of it, and you got to be in control. Unfortunately, there's one chairman. Run it to the best of my ability. As you know, this will be my last. one. I believe if you don't want to stay, you can have an opportunity to leave. That goes for me. I believe it for me. I believe it for me. I want to thank you for your service. They have the right. Thank you for. Oh, if y'all need a work excuse, for taking off or anything, we have that. We have the working, C. What's your name? Shayla. See Shayla? Yeah. See Shayla for if you need a work excuse. I thank you. I mean, when we walk out of here, not everyone's happy. You do the best you can serving as county judge. You do the best you can as serving as, and I heard someone say that, well, they said, you know, that you here, we don't do it. I didn't hear anyone say they wasn't doing a great job. I didn't hear anyone say. I hear everyone saying they're doing a good job. Hats off to them. You feel the tension, you feel the emotion, you know that when you come in. But thank you guys. It wasn't about being out at 5 o'clock.
That's all we kept hearing. I'm leaving at 5 o'clock. I mean, I heard it 3 or 4 times. Y'all can stay here.
I said my goal is to be out early by 5 o'clock. The bottom line is if you don't get what you want, that's why we're here to start. And thank you guys for your service. Thank you for, I mean, it's a thing that can go on from now on. You know, but thank you for taking time because you're getting that. And you send a letter out saying, hey, we willing to serve, and you say yes, thank you. Hats off. Have a great week. Yeah.